All right, so this is part two. Okay, so I'm not claiming my position, which is legal assistant to the property management team. So that means I'm in the property management group, but I am just the legal assistant, meaning that I'm handling the legal related portion of property management, and I am communicating directly with the legal department. So, so basically, and I need to claim that, because without me claiming that, then what happens is that I will kind of put myself in a position to be overlooked or be soft or this that, and the other. Because the other girl, again, same situation I was in, she didn't know, she know what she was introduced as, but she didn't know what her title was. And so she claimed that she was like, I am the property manager. I gave myself the title because, and I don't think they even introduced her as anything, but that's what it was. So, but anyhow, the important thing for me to do is keep my eyes and ears open and my mouth shut, and kind of turn around. And whenever I hear something that has to do with legal, I need to introduce myself as that, especially in the beginning stages. Like when I overheard that thing about, oh, so when I go to legal, and he kept saying it because he wanted it to catch my ears, I should have turned around and said, well, introduce myself formally. My name is Maria. I am the I am the legal assistant to the property management team. If you do have any legal questions, they should go to legal. With being the legal assistant and being new, I want to make sure that I'm kind of on top of things and aware and, inside of the learning curve. So I'd appreciate it if you'd also share the information with me and kind of leave it at that. And then the other guy, the white Hispanic guy, I'm going to call him um, Rojo. That's not his name, but I'm just going to just a way to identify him. So what he was trying to do is discount, what I was saying about, oh well, we used to deal directly with the legal, but they wanted legal people talking to the legal uh, personnel or whatever, and he was trying to make a differentiation with that. So in the future, I would say, well, that would be part of my duty because I am the legal, and I'm going to keep saying it over and over again, because I am the legal assistant to the property management team. That will be a part of my duty. So I will be that person that would contact the attorneys and the lawyers and work closely with the legal team to make sure that I am up to date on how the communications are to go with them, period. So these are all things that are addressable, but there are things that, because I did not feel my stand in my shoes, meaning that I did not claim it, I allowed myself to be humble to the point of where I'm about to kind of throw my blessing away. No, I'm not going to do that. And I'm updating. And those two things I just mentioned, I need to update my list that I have about that because, like I said, I have my little work journal, and I did not, and those things are things that needed to be updated to it. Um, oh, yeah. So, because again, it's basically about how to deal with these situations, and I'm not the only one, because I don't want it to turn, it's not there yet, but I do not want it to turn into a situation where it's bullying, where it's a situation where it's a person in authority of you that's acting like that. It's okay, because that person it's not okay, but that person has authority, and you, to me, if you're working for that person, you have a right, to kind of communicate back with them. But when it's people that's on, that does not, I mean, that doesn't have anything directly to do with what you're doing, it makes it difficult, because you don't want to seem like you're fighting, back and forth and that type of thing. So let me tell you about how my time has gone for real, since I've been there. And I didn't update the last few things that I just mentioned. But for day one, okay, let's start from the interviews. The first interview with the lady that I'm under, she was like, oh yeah, I think that you'd be good fit, start on Monday. Second interview, the lady was just like, and we talked about how she would throw things at me, how I like to be overwhelmed, that type of thing, which is true. Now, the second interview, that lady, she was just like, well, we have a couple more people to interview. And the one thing I'm scared of, because now that I'm thinking about it, I don't want it to come off as jealous to the other person, because I'm very supportive of that person, and it's not, but it's just, there is something that is there, and it's like I want to be aware of what everything that's going on now. So the first day, so the second person that interviewed me, go back to that. Second person that interviewed me was like, we had a couple more people to interview, and then I was thinking, after they told me, okay, well, we do want you to come on Tuesday. At first, I thought, well, maybe they were just trying to see my patience. How do I act if I don't get things my way, you know? But then the other thing is that maybe they called somebody else, and that person simply didn't want to do the job. They found something where they got paid more, and they paid me actually a little bit more than what I asked for, which was fine because I really wanted more, but I didn't feel like negotiating it because I understood that I'm on the humble side. And for now, I got the job, so I think it's good for me. I mean, I got the job, but in order for me to do my work, just like the other day when I was asking for some information I needed from the accounting department, I thought that one person, because their name sounded similar and I'm new, was the accounting person, and she was like, "Oh no, you know that was the owner of the company," but the other person was accounting, and I was just so embarrassed, you know. And she just didn't want me to be scared, so she came back and she was just like, you know, well, you're not gonna get anything done that way, you know. You can go in there and walk in there and ask her, you know, and whatever like that, because she wanted to make sure that, you know, I didn't get in a situation where I was scared to interact or deal with somebody because of a negative experience, you know. So anyways, day one, and when in the interviews I said I always come early, which I always do because I like to get acclimated. Let me tell you how it went. Day one, before I even started, okay, I got there at 8:15. Okay, I was in a parking lot. And again, I walked 5 miles to get to work, and this is the first day, so I want to make sure I get there on time. I'm not sure exactly how long it takes me. So I saw, you know, I'm going to call her the boss lady, standing outside, and I looked at her to say hello. She continued to look at the ground. I looked a little closer because we were only about 5 feet from each other, and I saw that definitely it was her because I was thinking, well, maybe I'm mistaken. So I waved and said good morning and said her name. She said, "You're early." I mean, no good morning, no nothing, just you're early. You know, I was a little taken aback, and I said, "I told you during the interview that I always come a little early to get acclimated and settled in." I moved on to the door, you know, and she, you know, she was like, "I'll let you in a minute," you know, and I didn't write this down because she was like, "I'll let you in a minute." And y'all excuse me because I'm just updating my little work journal as I go along, because it's like when you use, it's hard to write about negative things, so you leave stuff out sometimes, you know. She's like, "I'll let you in a minute," and I was like, "No, that's not a problem. I'll just, you know, I know I'm early. I'll just hang out for a while." I mean, and I thought that was so weird because I'm just like, we're in a parking lot. I'm just saying hi. You can say hi back. It's not a bad thing. And I mean, if I couldn't get in, I would just go, you know, there's stores and stuff, walk around until it was time for me to come in. It's not a big deal, you know. I mean, she made it like it was a big deal. And I just moved on to the door. So then when I got to the door, the other lady, I call her junior interviewer too, the junior boss lady. She's not, and really, you know, at the point that I'm in the door, she's not really the boss lady anymore, it seems, but I'll call her the junior boss lady. And again, you know, she acted as if she didn't see me. I said, "Good morning." She said hello and advised that she would let me in. Now, this lady during the interview, you know, like I said, I saw her as a tough cookie because she was just like, no, you know, she has two more people to interview. So she let me in, showed me to my seat. You know, I'm starting to feel kind of unwelcome. I'm like, I'm surprised that this lady even took it that far. She could have just left me standing outside until 9 o'clock. And she advised that this was my desk. You know, I got acclimated. I began looking through the items in my desk to see what I had as far as supplies, what needed to be given to the manager, you know, that wasn't mine, that I didn't need, etc. And then the HR person told me to go through the desk, told me not to go through the desk because that was not my permanent seat. I just got introduced to my desk and was told that was my permanent seat. Okay. Then the junior boss lady advised her to allow me to do whatever I needed to do. Okay. So what we did was we designated one drawer for that person's items. Then the owner came over and got everything later. Okay. Second day, I arrived at the building. I placed my fingerprint. I called up, you know, not called, but I pushed a button for them to let me in. No one opened the elevator. And then on the note, placed my fingerprint, but I pushed the call button. There's a call button. Call button, and I waited. It's about a fingerprint thing. No one opened the elevator. I did it again. It still didn't open. I thought that maybe just no one was upstairs yet. But 2 seconds later, someone came down the elevator, and at first I thought perhaps they came down to let me in. But then, and maybe, this, maybe the buzzer system was broken or something, you know. But they looked a little nervous when I came up, like, oh my God, I just let in because they didn't know me, and they just kind of really just let me in, And so I went up, so I came in, it was about 8:45, okay? And I'm gonna call him Rojo, and I'm gonna call the other lady, I'll call her Chiquita, but that's not her name, she's Hispanic. They were in a meeting with the boss lady. So I walked in and asked, because the previous day we all had a meeting together, and asked, oh, we had a morning meeting. And then Rojo says, oh, you should have been on time like the rest of us. Okay, now I advised the boss lady, because she was standing there, and that's making me look bad, that I came in a little later. And because she probably didn't even know what time it was. Okay, so, and I'm typing this part in because I didn't before. I just said that I advised, but I advised the boss lady because she was there, and she probably had no idea what time it was. So she's going by based on what he said and what impression could be left by that. Yeah. By going by the impression, the impression he was trying to leave, and her perception based on that. So I just advised her that I came a little later because the previous day the boss lady just kind of nutted up when I was there a little early. I'm like, but what I think it really was, the reason I think that this happened was because she was in the parking lot chilling. She wasn't ready to start work. And for me, a work person, I signified work. But later on, come to find out, I think it's just because she didn't like me. She just tense up when I come around. So the boss lady looked, she's like, oh, no. She was nice. She would call me, when she was ready for me. But previously, we all sat in a meeting together because we're part of a team. Okay, so then I inquired to the HR lady as to, who watches the cameras to let people in. And she didn't disclose that information. She just advised that no one is allowed in until 9 a.m. And so I'm boiling in my shoes at this point. At that point, like I said, I'm boiling a little over because day one, my good morning is greeted with coldness, okay? And day two, I can't get in, and I'm being told that no one gets in until 9 without a fingerprint. Then I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but then how does Shakita get in if she gets here at 8:30? So Shakita, and I started to boil over, Shakita simply advised that she just goes up the stairs. So much for not allowing anyone until 9 a.m. without a fingerprint, because you don't need a fingerprint or even have to work for the company. You can just take your happy behind up the stairs. What it basically means is that anybody can get in before 9 a.m. without a fingerprint, unless you're trying to go through the proper way, like I was trying to do. So I sat and I waited at the door and did all of that for nothing. Okay, so all the items were completed, that were on my list. My status update was given. She did not respond. So during the morning meeting, she asked me how did I think I did. I advised her that it was important, not important what I thought. It was important what she thought. She told me to tell her. I told her that I thought I did a great job, that all of my files were in order. I broke down my tasks into departments and had my files organized in the same manner on my desk. She said, well, let's go over your list. I advised her that I sent her an email with all of my status updates. She advised that the first one was not make up a number XXX. I asked her to give me a moment while I referred to the files in the order that I was discussing them. And I advised that it was, let's say, YXX. And I apologize, there was a typo, and I moved on. There were no other incidences, okay? So I'm gonna. This is coming to an end, so I'm gonna use the third one to go over my little like work update because that just really has me kind of boiling. And